With IBPSA and the upcoming IBPSA conference 2020. And have you ever had those days where it seems like no matter what you do, everything just keeps falling apart? Well, for a lot of people, that happened back in March, April, May, June. Business changed. And today I'm really excited because we're going to be bringing you an expert who's all about change, pivoting with change, and making it work for your organization. And with that, I'm going to actually turn it over to Stephanie. But before I do, I have to say we are on air. And today I brought my child has 4 legs and fur, and I'm a dog mom. So I have my other cup today. Yeah. So Stephanie, I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. I've had the privilege of seeing Joe speak in person at the Dog Gurus Conference in Colorado. Ran into him again in Atlanta at the Atlanta Pet Fair. He is that international known expert on pet grooming. And Joe, you're affiliated with the Paragon School of Pet Grooming. So for some of our audience who may or may not be familiar with that, what is that? Like, what could I do with that?
Sure. Well, very first off, thank you very much. I'm so excited for the conference next week. I'm flattered to be invited to speak twice, two episodes. There's the if you want to get registered, right, go to petcareconference.com. There, I'm doing your plug for you. You love it?
Right on.
There,
okay, my job is done. Okay, I'll see y'all later.
Yeah. So, but anyway, thank you very much. Yeah, the Paragon School of Pet Grooming. I get the honor of leading some really great pet grooming skills educators at the Paragon School of Pet Grooming. We started about 3 decades ago. Melissa Verplank, our founder, she's known in the grooming industry, one of the top leading experts in the pet professional grooming, especially education industry. We started as an on-campus learning experience. And when I joined the team back in 2008, Melissa and I would put our heads together and we're like, how can we bring this education to people that maybe can't afford to come to Grand Rapids and live there for 3 or 4 months and pay the tuition that we were asking or couldn't just, even if they could afford it, affording the time to come and learn. So we just really felt like we were leaving a lot of people out. So throughout 2008, we developed what is now called the Paragon Distance Learning Program. It launched in January of 2009. And we have career resetters. So we've got people that they still have to keep working, but they want to learn a new craft, a new skill that they've often dreamt about doing. We've got multi-unit retailers who use us as their in-house training platform for their grooming salons and their staff. But for this particular audience, for all of you out there, the full service pet care facilities who, your lodging is waking up slowly because people have to get comfortable with travel again and vacationing and such. And your daycare is waking up slowly. Well, because heck, people got to bring their dogs to daycare because they're at the workplace, they're at their offices. Well, maybe that's not happening as much. Well, one service that might have taken a small break along the way, but now is back with a vengeance, with extreme gusto, is professional pet grooming. And at the Paragon School of Pet Grooming, the distance learning program is ideal for all of you out there that are looking to grow your team, grow your people, and essentially grow your business through grooming. So we've got the Paragon School of Pet Grooming for new groomers, so people have 0 skill up to average to above average pet grooming skill. We also have our ongoing learning, our ongoing education platform called learntogroomdogs.com. And that's sort of like Netflix for dog groomers. And that is a streaming video subscription service, 1,000 episodes of some of the best instruction by some of the grooming industry's top veterans. So more than you could ever attend in one seminar or one conference, and you get to have them right there in your pocket or table side the entire time. So whether you want to grow a new team or grow the skills of an existing team, Paragon School of Pet Grooming and learntogroomdogs.com, we've got those answers for you. But you're right, we had to pivot so much that we closed our on-campus facility in May of this year to go 100% all attention on the distance learning program. And I can report to you guys, I am thrilled that we took that risk. I am thrilled that we dedicated our team and all of our attention toward distance learning. And that's why I get an opportunity to get in front of all of you out there, the audience of professional pet care providers, to talk about this.
You know, there's a lot to unwrap here. You just said a few things. One is that you took a risk, and I think in virtually any business, any industry, but especially the pet care industry, that taking risks is very important. But they're calculated risks. And
Mhm.
you started this program, the distance learning, back in 2009, I believe you said. So
Yes.
you've been doing it for a while. And what I really find impressive
I'm sorry,
about what you've been
2019. I forgot the one. See, look at this.
Okay,
This whole
well,
year
minor
feels like
details.
this year
Minor
feels like 10 years
details.
long.
You know
What I
what?
really meant
does.
was I joined
Yeah.
the team in 18, and in 19 we launched the distance learning program. So
Okay, well, you know, it's like 2020 feels like 10 years, so it's okay. It's okay. But
yeah.
quite seriously, it's like you took the assets that were working and then you expanded, which actually ties very nicely into the giveaway today. My book, Power Up for Profits, it's all about online marketing. It's all about how to get a presence online. And what we're going to do is we're going to have people put in the comments, if you've been on any of these before, just say, yeah, I've been on the, you have to say, yeah, you can't say yes. You have to say, yeah.
Right.
I've been
Right.
on. Yes, absolutely. And also tell us where you're tuning in from. And even after the fact, we'd love you to leave comments and give us hearts and little thumbs up. But you know, there's some interesting things that you talked about, Joe. One is definitely the risk taking. The other is you brought the team together and you discussed it as a team to
Mhm.
really look at how could you serve your market. And can you talk in more detail about what people who are kind of sitting on the fence with still making changes, because if they're not catching up to what's going on because of the pandemic and the change in business, they're going to be left behind. How can people quickly elevate themselves to the next level in business? What are some of the strategies that your organization used?
Well, what we did is we first looked at who is it that we're going to serve, right? I mean, if you don't look at first who it is you're serving, you're probably, I don't know that any plans are as spot on as what they need to be. So you first have to look at and give your customer, your client, in our case, the student, right, a seat at the table. So you have to figure out what is it that they would want, because you know, it really doesn't matter what we want. We only get what we want when they get what they want, right? And in our case, professional pet grooming skills, or in the case of our, who we call sponsors. So all of you professional, all of you full service pet care facility owners and operators, you're who we call sponsors. In many cases, you're sponsoring a student to learn a new career. So however it's specific to dog grooming, however you've looked at dog grooming in the past, I don't care if, let's admit it, you might have thought it was the land of the misfit toys in the front corner or back room of your pet care facility. But I will tell you, these artists, these people that are in professional pet grooming, they're people just like the rest of your business. One of the risks that you might need to look at is look at grooming differently. And that's what I challenge you to do in my 2-part episode, Grooming 101, during the conference next week, is first look at the people potential. What roles exist in grooming? If I said to you, dog grooming, your first mental picture is dog groomer, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to blow you away if I tell you that you can have a thriving grooming business without even having haircuts. Now,
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Okay, obviously you're going to need dog groomers at some point because your customers are going to demand haircuts. But if you don't have a groomer right now, that's okay. It doesn't keep you from starting and working on a thriving grooming business. We have in the Paragon School of Pet Grooming, we have 3 levels of education. The very first one, which I believe is the most important, it's called Groom Tech. These people who graduate level 1 can do everything except for the haircut. So they're not bather brushers. They're not your kennel techs. They're not your daycare techs. They're not your receptionists who might have a few extra minutes to go bathe the dog. We train these folks so that you can have a legitimate grooming services offering and not underpriced because you undervalue the bath. I'm telling that full service bath with maybe the light trimming on the feet and the nails and the pads and the ears and all of that, that is worth a lot to your customer base. It's worth even more to you because it's the groundwork for growing tomorrow's groomers. You don't just get plopped down on this earth as a dog groomer. You first start by learning the fundamentals. And that's what you do with level 1. So you might as well go ahead and make it a legitimate business offering, which is that full service bath. So we look at these roles: groom tech, pet groomer, pet stylist. And then how do all of these kind of these folks coexist inside your grooming department? So part of that risk is just looking at things differently, Kathleen and Stephanie. I mean, just if the world's changing around you, you probably better change. I've got a lot of Joeisms that I say, right? And one of my Joeisms is if there is change that's inevitable, it's unavoidable. Change is going to happen. Unless you're in early and with both feet, you've chosen to be a victim.
Wow.
Right.
I love, I'm going to take that Joeism and I'm going to put it up with your picture and just, that's a great Joe. I love that because actually that ties in very nicely with what's going on with the conference this year. It's like when the pandemic hit, the conference, which was going to be in Orlando, had to be canceled. I mean, there was no two ways about it. And Carmen and the team, rather than becoming victims because the change happened, it was inevitable, they said, how can we serve our market? And what I love what you said, Joe, about the distance learning is that people don't have to pay for travel. They don't have to pay for hotels or an apartment for 3 or 4 months. And in this case, for the conference, you don't have to pay for any travel. You don't have to pay for any hotels, nothing. And all you have to do is go to petcareconference.com. And this is about staying up with the leading edge. This is about staying in line with what's going on in the industry, because if you have not yet signed up for this conference, you're going to be at some point calling yourself a victim. Don't be a victim, be a victor, and sign up for the conference, because Joe, I love what you're saying. And it really ties in very nicely with the online marketing world. And that's what this book is about. Somebody's going to win this. So, Joe, there's a couple of things that you were talking about, and really it was looking at the assets of the organization. And you looked at, okay, what are the assets that we have that we can amplify and become even more profitable and continue at the highest level to serve people. I sound like I went through puberty there, highest level, but couldn't resist that one. But quite seriously, it's like, how can you recommend to people to really look to the future and say, okay, we see this coming, and some people bury their heads in the sand, they become a victim, or there are those that say, okay, the change is coming. How do we roll up our sleeves? How do we evaluate it, analyze it, and move forward? What would you recommend, Joe?
Well, the very first one is I would recommend talking to as many people as you can. One of the things I hear, because I do, a lot of these folks that have these full service pet care facilities, I also provide independent consulting for them outside of my day job at Paragon and Learn to Groom. Like, I don't have enough to do. I also work on independent consulting because a lot of these folks, they don't understand the grooming business potential, the potential of business. One of the things that I encourage all of my clients to do right from the beginning is you don't have to be an island. You're not on your own. You're not by yourself. If this pandemic, listen, learn from this pandemic. This is not a Joeism, but somebody once said, embrace the suck, right? It sucks. It's just punched us in. Mike Tyson said, a plan is all well and good until you get punched in the mouth, right? Well, guess what? We got punched in the mouth this year, but what are you going to do about it? How are you going to get back up? So one of the things I tell people, listen, if you feel like you're on an island, you're doing that to yourself, because there's a lot of really great people out there that would be happy to share their woes, their wins, their snags, their brags with you. So network. And I will tell you, don't just network in this industry.
Yeah.
Talk to people outside of this industry. If you want a fresh perspective, we can't just all be recycling the same stuff. We're just not going to grow. And that's one reason why, how did you train dog groomers before? How did you just wait for groomers to land in your lap? Well, tell me how that's going for you, right? So stop looking for dog groomers and change the rules and grow.
I love that. I love that. And Stephanie, can you talk about the conference? And Joe, you mentioned networking and why the conference is such a great opportunity for people to network, and not just with people in the industry, because there are people outside of the industry coming in.
Absolutely. Because we have legal advisors or lawyers, we have insurance people, we have a variety of people in human resources, and we've got, people within the industry. So the networking element of this particular conference is nothing like, I've never seen it before on a virtual platform as far as virtual conferences go. For example, the meet and greet on a week from today between 5 and 7 p.m. It is a week
I'll be
from
there.
today. But
I'll be there. Come
I'll
hang
be
out.
there.
hey, I'm
Yep.
going to be there as well. And there's little groups set up that you can click on anybody that's there, go face to face with them in a heartbeat. Just click the join live button if you haven't seen it already on the platform. There's going to be little already formed groups that you can just kind of join in with 5 or 6 other people within your industry, outside of your industry. I do believe that I know our keynote speaker is going to be hanging around on the day that she speaks to make sure that she can chat with some people. Jan Spence, what a wonderful keynote speaker she is. Kathleen and I had the privilege of meeting her the other day. So I look at that and I'm like, this is the conference. Not only the ticket price is $199, which is less than a ticket to to the IBPSA's conference last year. This is the one opportunity that you could actually bring your whole staff and not break the bank.
Right.
I mean, really,
Right.
I mean, in my facility, I would have loved to have had the opportunity to bring my entire staff to Palm Springs last year, or to St. Louis the year before, or Amelia Island the year before that. I would have loved that, but I can't afford it. I can't just have people, nobody at my facility for a week.
Right.
This is the one conference where I can get my entire staff. I buy them all a ticket and they can all do the conference, and they have 6 months to enjoy the learning and listen to that, and maybe get half of Joe's presentation, the first time around, because he's such a riveting speaker and you're enthralled by that. And you really are, Joe. I'm absolutely,
thank you.
I love listening to you speak. But you know what? I can also go back after the conference and watch that again. So I look at that and I'm like, this is the one conference where you should be signing up your entire staff and not just necessarily yourself.
And I want to say that when you think of the quality of what Joe's going to be talking about at the conference, and think about what the business that he's in has been able to do, that they have become even more profitable since the pandemic. How many businesses can say that? And you get to get his brain power. You get to get the brain power of about 30 other speakers that they've all been selected because they have something of value to share. And, I can look at my own professional development over the years, how much I've invested in every conference that I've gone to that has the quality of speakers that IBPSA has this year. I've grown my business, and you don't stay in business for 26 years without investing in your business. So I really encourage you, go to, I have to get my high tech little sign here, petcareconference.com, petcareconference.com. Go there right now, hit that buy button, and register for the conference. Not only for you, but for your entire staff. Because Stephanie, I want to talk about the prize real quick. And well, actually, I think I'll make you wait because I know you get way too excited about it. So Joe, what would you say, do you ever have people that go, well, you're lucky, Joe, you just, you always figure these things out. Do you ever have people say that? And what do you say to those people who say, Joe, you're just lucky?
Yeah. Okay. So sometimes I will take luck, right? I'll take luck. I'll take being in the right time at the right place. I'll take being good. I'll take, the way I look at it is if I operate from a platform of wanting to help others get what they want, then I'll get what I want, right? I tell this to my consulting clients all the time. The dollars that happen, that is proof of performance. So if there's more dollars, then you did good. If there's less, you didn't do so good, right? But it doesn't mean that it's all is lost, right? So when somebody says, oh, you're just lucky, listen, you don't want to be in my head on those days when I'm just sitting there, just riling and saying, what can I do? What am I going to do? Let me tell you, when our last day in our brick and mortar campus was March 19th, and I had to tell my team, there's not going to be a place to come back to.
Right.
Now, at that time, it was, there's not going to be a place to come back to temporarily. But in May, when I had to follow that up with telling 8 out of the 14 people, there wasn't a place to come back to, period. That's a tough message. Yeah. And listen, it's not about me. It was all about them. That killed me to have to do that, right? But, and it's not about me. It's about you audience members out there. It's about I'm going to reach right out and talk to you, the individual out there. This is about you, and this is about your customers, and this is about your team. And what can you do as the owner operator, if you have any amount of the authority, the power to change things? Well, guess what? Control what you can control and let everything else just kind of happen around you and deal. Just deal.
Right.
And unless you are stirring up the magic batch of pandemic cure in your back room somewhere, that you've got the cure for the virus, how do you deal? And I understand, listen, this is tough. These are tough financial times for everybody. Yeah. Was I fearful? Absolutely. So was everybody else.
Right.
How's this going to affect my career? How's this going to affect my family? How's this going to affect, the things I enjoy in life? Am I going to continue to still be able to do that? But you know what? Those are the times. And I'll tell you, human beings we're a crafty bunch. And I would like to think that human beings in this industry are even that much more crafty. I will tell you this, that in episode 1, the part 1, people potential, we talk about these people assets. In episode number 2, during the conference next week, we talk about profit potential. I might shock you, but I can tell you that every grooming station in your facility can generate over $100,000 a year in revenue. $100,000 a year in revenue per grooming station. And I'm going to show you the arithmetic that gets us there. And you're going to be shocked as to, not simple. Our jobs are not simple. Right. But with a plan, how can we get there? Not only generating revenue, but how can we do it profitably? And how can we do it with less headaches? And that's the message that I get to bring to you. Because if you don't understand the business part first, the people solution doesn't necessarily hit its stride. You just don't get the best out of a people solution without first understanding not only business in general, but certainly the pet care services business, and in this case, specific to grooming.
I love what you said there, and I've got a Joeism. Human beings are a crafty bunch. That's a Joeism. And I want you to think of another one while Stephanie talks about
Put
the
that
prize.
on t-shirts.
Yeah, it's like you need a Joeism t-shirt. I love it. I love it. But, quite seriously, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, you just said I can teach you how each station can generate $100,000 a year. If that's not worth the price of admission to this conference, I don't know what is. $199, you get the brain power of people like Joe. He's going to give you a bunch of Joeisms at the conference. I can guarantee you that. And if he's not, he better line those up. I want to hear at least 10 Joeisms during the conference for sure. And, not just during your sessions, but during the networking and all that. Absolutely. And Stephanie, I would love for you to share how people can be put in the drawing for this secret prize.
Absolutely. All we have to do is actually register for the conference. So last Monday, if you registered last Monday or before, you have 10 tickets into the draw that's going to take place on the first day of the conference. If you've waited until this Monday, now you have reduced your chances by 50%, but you still get 5 tickets into the draw. Whereas on Friday, if you wait and you register on Friday, you're only going to have 1 ticket into the draw. And is that a big deal? It absolutely is when I tell you what the prize is. And this is why Kathleen puts me off until the end, because I get so excited.
Do I put you off? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you off. Okay.
Better than setting her off. Putting her off and setting her off are two completely different things.
Right.
So the prize, Carmen has offered up 1 year full access for you and everybody at your facility to both parts of the K9 certification courses put on by the IBPSA. That is valued at $100 per person. $150 per person. So if you have 10 people on staff, that's a $1,500 prize. If you have 30 people on staff, that's a $4,500 prize. It's absolutely astounding. And all you have to do is register. So if you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I'm going to get around to it. Why would you take 1 ticket into that draw instead of 5? That's my question. And then I would be like, you know what, for $199, if you pay a wage of $10 an hour, that's less than paying a part-time person for a single week. Like this is what we're talking about, $199. And I don't know how you can afford not to invest $200. We all put turf, we get new dog bowls, we get new crates, we get new, we make all sorts of investments. I don't know how you can't invest $200 into 30 plus hours of education where Joe is going to teach you how to make $100,000, you know, at a
Well,
single
Stephanie,
group.
can I add something to that? From a perspective of investing in people, we call it ROIP, return on investing in people. We talk about ROI all the time, but I like that we forget that in our business, we're in the people business, right? So what is that last one? Return on investing in people. Here's what's really great. I don't know about you guys, but I have a terrible memory. My memory's getting worse, it seems, by the minute, certainly by the day. When I would go to a conference back in the old American Boarding Kennel Association days, way back when, right? When I think I first met Carmen, right? You would go to these seminars and the best thing you could do, so I grabbed my Apple pencil, but back in the day when you wrote with one of these or an actual pen, right? The best you could do was write as fast as you could while you were in a seminar, right. And then you were the vessel of taking that back then to your team. But now with this virtual conference for this price, you get, what is it, 6 months, did you say, to be able to go back and watch? I mean, you don't have to have a good memory.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and what we're going to do is we're going to play one episode in each of our team meetings and then spend our team meeting time watching it together and then talking about it together. They're all going to have their own access. They can do it from home. They can learn. This is a wonderful training opportunity for your staff. So I'm having a hard time thinking about why someone wouldn't invest $200. And because that's what really we're talking about. We're talking about $200. And I know that pennies are tight and I get that. I mean, I own a brick and mortar pet boarding daycare training facility, just like a lot of people that are watching this. But at the same time, my session on employee development and succession planning, keep your employees. It's about people. And we go down, you know, it costs you $15,000 to replace an employee. Why don't you spend $200 on this conference and learn how to keep them?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. And again, all you need to do is go to petcareconference.com, petcareconference.com. And I know at the conference, we're also going to be, during the live conference, we're going to be giving some amazing prizes away. We're going to be doing drawings. And, you know, some of these are like so off the charts. It's unflippin' believable. So I really encourage people, you know, invest in your people, invest in your business. And Joe, I would love to talk about one thing you said about the fear, you know, because a lot of people there's people saying, well, should I or shouldn't I? Yes, you should. I mean, you know, take it from 3 very successful entrepreneurs that we are telling you this is what successful people do. They invest in their business. And Carmen has done a phenomenal job with this conference. She's given so much back to the community. Please give back to her. I mean, that's, you know, that's as I say, please give back to the organization that is here to help you grow your business. But you were talking about fear, Joe. And I know that when the pandemic first hit, as a speaker, I go out to conferences and I get paid to go to conferences, and that side of my business literally overnight shut down overnight. And I have to say, there was a part of me going, do you even know what you're doing? You've been doing this for, at that point, it was about 25 years. You've been doing it for so long. How could you let this happen? And then I realized it wasn't just me. When I got out of my head and I started talking with other people who were going through the same thing, you had mentioned fear. How did you get through the fear? Because for me, it was like, I wanted to pull the covers over my head. I wanted to disappear and never have to deal with this thing. That's not reality. So how did you deal with it? How did you make the change to get through the fear?
Well, you know, when I look at fear, I mean, there are stages of it, right? So, and there are stages, each one of these stages, you can get stuck if you allow yourself to get stuck, right? Depending on the fear, quite honestly, depending on the fear, it might come out of left field. You might see it coming. Maybe you're fearful because you should have planned on something. You saw the writing on the wall, right? But I will tell you that I have, if I've learned anything, and it doesn't, guys, listen, I'm vulnerable too. I might get a little fearful at first, but what I've done is I've learned to say, okay, fear is a great motivator. Fear is a great motivator. Think about that. If you're afraid of something, you're probably going to want to try to move away from what it is that you're fearful of. Get in a safe place, get into a happy place. And so for some people, temporarily, it might be under the covers. It might be, you might just throw the covers up and say, I'm gonna handle this tomorrow. Know yourself, right? And sometimes, as Zig Ziglar once said, sometimes you just need a checkup from the neck up, and find somebody that will tell you honestly what it is you need. You know, sometimes we need a nudge, and fear can be that. Here's one thing I will promise you. I've been in the pet industry for almost 36 years. And I've been on the pet services side, I've been on product development side, and now I'm on the education side. Would I consider that a perfect trifecta, right? Yeah, I would, right? Because inside of all of that, the consulting side, I get to pull from all of those experiences. One thing I can tell you with absolute certainty, the pet industry is one of the best industries to be in on this planet, because I've lived in this profession through recessions, through several elections, through laws and rules changes, through regulations, certifications, threats of those, all of those things. And one thing I can tell you is that I'm thankful that I'm in this industry, because you know why? It thrives on unconditional love. It thrives on what pets deliver to pet parents. And as long as we can appreciate that and invite ourselves into that equation in some way, the best we can in our ability, there will be thriving lodging again. There will be thriving daycare again. There is and will be thriving grooming and training and pickup and delivery. All of those are going to come back, because human beings, we are a scrappy bunch.
Yes, we are.
But it's
I thought we were,
what do you do
where's
now?
my Joeism?
Yeah.
We're a crafty bunch too. So crafty bunch.
Crafty. Did I say scrappy or crafty? I don't know.
You said both. Let's make that a Joeism. But
okay.
So, well, you know, Joe, this has been really, really amazing. You've given so much great information in this short period of time. And I know at the conference, you're going to have two incredible, incredible sessions. You talked about the laws and rules. And that's one benefit of membership, is there's a whole slew of information on legalities within the industry. So that right there is worth the investment of becoming a member and then getting the discount on your tickets. Stephanie, before we wrap up, I want to remind people that they need to let us know where they're from. We're going to do a drawing on, let's see, not this. We are not drawing for this. That is absolutely not. But we are.
I want one of those though. I would like to have one of those. But
you know, I had a client who gave this to me. She was at one of my events and she said, "You need that." And it's like, I do. It's like, I love when clients tell me what I need. It's like, okay. But we're going to draw for my book, Power Up for Profits, The Smart Woman's Guide to Online Marketing. And I will tell you that men get as much benefit from this as women do. Whoever wins this, use this for your entire team. Go through a chapter a month and really dig into it, because it's all about visibility online. And Joe, obviously that has worked for your business. And you know, it's so interesting because with what you shared today, you've shown that in spite of, or maybe because of the pandemic, you were able to step back and in some ways reinvent the business, which is reinventing the industry on so many levels. So Stephanie?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got my phone here that is not on my wireless network, and I'm going to try to make a draw. If we drop off before that, we will make the draw and post it in the comments. But here's your last chance to comment where you're from. If you've seen a live before, if you're going to conference, just say, yes, I've already registered. If you're not, I'd be interested to know why not. And maybe there are some reasons that I haven't thought of, and what's holding you back from doing that. At this particular point in time. So I am going to try to refresh my Facebook on my phone and get a list of those comments and make that draw. So you're going to have to bear with me just for a second, because
hey, Stephanie, while you're doing that, can I just put a little plug out for where they can maybe find information out about?
Absolutely.
You can go to anything you want to learn about the distance learning program at Paragon. You can go to paragonpetschool.com. And for any of my consulting services, you can go to heyjoepetpro.com. So paragonpetschool.com or heyjoepetpro.com.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing those web addresses.
Well, Kathleen, for fear that I'm going to cut us off because I'm going to intrude, we will make the draw right as soon as we are finished this, and we'll post it in the comments and get in touch with the winner. So for everybody, thank you for joining us today. We have, who's coming up next tomorrow?
Summer Jelinek is coming up tomorrow, and it's all about you. So we're going to be talking about stress, anxiety, fear that has been building and building and building, and kind of playing off of what we talked about today and how you can reinvent yourself during these most interesting times. Rather than saying troubling times, say most interesting times. I'm sure Joe would agree that what you speak becomes manifest, and I look forward to your Joeisms because they're rock solid.
Thank you.
They absolutely are. And I can't wait for conference to start, but don't forget, mark it on your calendars, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern, a week from today. Let's get in there and get some chat going, some face-to-face conversations about how we're going to make the most of this conference together. Everybody who has registered as of Friday, they were sent out their access to the virtual portal. So I would highly encourage you to click on that and just go surf around a little bit and see how easy it is. And Kathleen and I certainly plan on putting something together on a Facebook Live just to show you exactly how easy it is and connecting. I think we're going to meet at the PAC booth at some point, and we'll show some folks what it's like. But Joe, thank you so much for being our guest today. You have been simply a delight.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody, don't forget to comment, and we'll see everybody with Summer tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.